Good day. Today we're making simple mashed potatoes. Nothing fancy, just your basic mashed potatoes that are going to be made for dinner time, something like that. Tools of the trade, we're going to start with a long spoon for stirring water, masher to mash them. I prefer this one because it's flat on the bottom. It's got some surface area to squish them. Medium size pot to put them in and boil them. Potato peeler, very handy. Scrubber to scrub them. Potatoes, you're going to need some of those. These are about 1 pound a piece. Pretty good size. For us, we don't have that many, so we only use about 2. Milk and butter. You can use regular butter, or I prefer the I Can't Believe It's Not butter because it gets more of a butter flavor into the mashed potatoes with less used. So let's get started. Alright, first step, we're going to wash the potatoes. Just scrub them nice under water just to get the raw dirt off of them. I'll do the second one. Nothing real fancy. You just need a light brushing. Next, we're going to use the potato peeler and peel them. Be really careful not to put your fingers out or anything like that. Keep them down. Medium pressure into it. Peel them off in a straight line. All right. Rinse it back off. And we'll do the second one now. Don't go too fast or you will cut yourself. If you got any dark spots that you can't live with, just dig them out. Okay, those are cleaned and ready to be cut. All right, cutting the potatoes up. This is where a lot of people go wrong. So all you need to do for this is simply cut it in about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch thick slices. The key thing with potatoes is to make sure they're consistent. They all need to be cut pretty close to the same thickness. The thickness is what's going to determine how they cook. So now that we've got these cut, I'm going to take each one and I'm going to cut them into quarters. Like this one here. They should all be about the same consistent size, about the size of your thumb or a little bit bigger. Keeping those sizes consistent will ensure the whole batch cooks evenly throughout. If you get one like this, it's much longer. If I did a quarter, it would be real big. So this one, I'm going to cut into 6 pieces. Just continue to cut those. If you cut them too small, they'll come apart while it's boiling. So you don't want to go too tiny. Try to keep it around the size of your thumb. Make very consistent sizes. Okay, we've got these all cut up. The next thing we're going to do is bring our pot over, and we're going to put everything into the pot. Okay, back over to the sink. What we're going to do is we're going to put water in here, and we're going to let this fill up until it's about 1.5 inches or 2 inches above the potato line. So right now there's enough to cook in there. But I'm going to go about 1 inch higher than what it takes, because some of the water will evaporate out. Right about there. Okay, I've put the pot on the largest burner I have, and we're going to go ahead and ignite that. Just going to set it on high. And then this is where everyone says, you know, add salt to taste, and we'll throw some salt in there. Honestly, mashed potatoes are so starchy, they just absorb it. Okay, so now we're going to wait about 15 minutes for the water to come to a boil. And then we're actually going to start timing. So right now it's just a waiting game, just sitting around watching water boil. Occasionally through the process, come back and stir them up just a little bit, just to ensure heat's going evenly throughout everything. While you're waiting for the water to boil, go ahead and pull out a strainer and something for the pot to sit on the countertop nearby. Almost there, getting close. And the reason why we put the mashed potatoes in before we start warming up the water is so that everything comes up to the same temperature at the same time. If you put the mashed potatoes or the potatoes into boiling water already, you typically burn off the outside without cooking the middle that well. So it's best to start with a cold pot. I mean, you could use hot water, but best to start with an unheated pot. We're just barely starting to see some bubbles. Alright, we've reached a full boil. So now we're going to start a timer for 15 minutes. Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, starting now.
So now what we're going to do, once it's up to a full boil like that, we're going to go ahead and reduce the temperature back down to about a medium. You want to keep it boiling, but not that fast. See how turbulent the water is? You don't want that because it beats up your potatoes too much. You want it just a very slow boil. I'll show you what that looks like. This is a slower boil now. That's about what we want. Turned it down just below the halfway point. But we want to keep it there for 15 minutes, and then we'll drain it into the strainer. So some things to look for while it's boiling is that for the most part the water should stay kind of clear. It gets a little bit of a yellowish tint to it, but nothing bad. If your water turns completely murky yellow, like you can't see the potatoes anymore, that means the boil is too fast, and it's literally hammering the potatoes apart inside of there, and they're filling the water up. The downside to this is that when you go to drain it, probably half of your potatoes will just go right through the strainer and down the drain. Won't be a good turnout at all. So you want to keep your water at that soft boil. One of the other things, if you keep your water at a soft boil and then it still comes apart, is that you cut your potatoes too thin, too narrow, and they've overcooked at that point. Alright, so 15-minute timer's done. We're going to turn this off. Now what we're doing to check it is just we're going to take some, and I'm just going to take a fork and stick it in there. It should slide right in with no problem. In fact, it breaks apart. It's not, you know, that's perfect. That's the exact way we want. Okay, I just transferred them to the strainer. We're gonna let them shake in there a little bit. Try to drain some water out. And we're gonna go ahead and pour them in. Okay. The hard part about this is that everyone's potatoes are different. Depends on what you like taste, how smooth you want them, that sort of thing. So for this, we're just going to do a splash of milk, probably about 1/4 cup. And then I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of salt. That's a lot of salt. But if nothing else, mashed potatoes eat up salt and buttering flavoring. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my, I can't believe it's not butter, and get a normal tablespoon and put about 3 tablespoons in it. And then we mash straight down, try to get everything. Break everything apart. If you never get past this point, where the mashed potatoes look clumpy, add more milk. And then they'll smooth out some. Some people like using electric mixers to save the time. I don't. I think it makes it come out not good. So I just use this flat masher. Keep going around. Doesn't take much time at all. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more milk to this. Again, depending on what potatoes you used, how long you cooked them, what your tastes are, everyone's comes out different. So this is a trial and error at the end for sure. And once you've seasoned them the way you like it and mashed them to where there's no little lumps left, you're done. If you can't get the little lumps out of it, your pieces were either too big or you didn't cook it long enough. So it's unfortunately you just have to either keep mashing it and remember and adjust for next time. All right. That's it. Enjoy.